As a comedian, I'm supposed to hate cancel culture, but keeps opening doors for me, so I don't really know how to feel. And my mom, she gets nervous that something like that could happen to me. I know how to tell her, I'm not in any danger. I'm not successful. She's like, what if you get canceled? I was like, I haven't been scheduled, so fine. Yeah, comedy, it's so fun, man. But the only thing, you will just sell yourself out if it means getting fans. So I was doing a podcast a couple of years ago, really popular, could have been a game changer for me. First half hour, I hadn't said a word. I just said nothing for the conversation. One of the comics was talking about stealing. I never stole. Another comic was talking about being Puerto Rican. I never been Puerto Rican. So I was like, all right, whatever comes up next, I have to get in there. And then the host goes, what's the weirdest thing anyone's ever masturbated with? And I was like, now's my time. So before I was born, my mom had breast cancer. She had a single mastectomy, so she only had one boob for a little while. So she had this fake boob thing in the house. Don't jump ahead. Live in the moment. Let's be here tonight. Go to your breath. Put your phones away. And when I was younger, I didn't know what it was. I used to wear it on my head and dance around. I call it my squishy hat. And the neighbors would come and throw change, and we'd make rent. But one time, I took my squishy hat when I was a teenager. I wrapped it around my penis. I used it as a lubricant till life finds a way. Yeah, you don't like hearing it? I don't like saying it. So this isn't a proud moment for me. This is the only thing I said after a half hour of not talking. And I thought I was gonna kill. Instead, stunning silence. One of the comics went, "What's wrong with you?" The second comic went, "I don't feel safe." And then the host goes, "Don't ever say that again to anyone, ever." And it hit me in that moment. Man, not only did I do a bad thing, I made it infinitely worse. What's more horrific, jerking off with your mom's fake cancer boob? Or being like, I hope this gets my name out there. And it worked. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the strangest time claps I've ever been a part of in comedy. One guy clapped, everyone goes, I guess we clap. I don't know. But no, a year later, this guy came up to me at a party. He was like, you're Anthony DeVito, right? I was like, yeah. He goes, I heard you on a podcast. And I was like, which one? He was like, you know the one. The only other thing with stand-up, you never want to tell people you're a comedian. People just always want to tell you jokes. So I had this Uber driver, this Armenian guy in Los Angeles a couple of years ago, finds out I'm a comic. He gets so excited. He goes, whoa, you're a comedian? Okay, I've got 2 jokes for you. And I was like, oh no. And then he goes, well, one's more like a sad tale. And I was like, go on. This is what he said, verbatim. He goes, there I was, fighting in the Iran-Iraq war. You guys know how jokes begin. Knock, knock, who's there? Combat. So he keeps going and he says, I was wounded in battle, so they took me to a hospital. But there was another soldier who had his head blown clean off. They took us both to the same hospital. There was a crazy mix-up there. They thought that soldier was me, so they shipped his headless body to my mother to bury, and she did. There was a funeral, the whole town came out. I didn't know about any of this. I called her a week later. She thought I was calling from beyond the grave. And I was like, holy shit, man, what's your other joke? He goes, sometimes when I go to Starbucks and they don't know my name, I tell them I'm famous opera singer Andrea Bocelli. And I was like, this guy does it all as a comedian. What range? Schindler's List meets Jackass? He's incredible. He's a pro. I'll tell you this last story and then I'll go. Yeah, I went to college actually for architecture, and I only picked architecture because when I was 16, my aunt was on her deathbed. She asked what I was gonna do to make the family proud. I just got nervous. I said architecture, and then she lived, and they never forgot. And I knew I wanted to do comedy. So freshman year, worth our entire grade, we had to design a building where on the ground floor was retail space and the top floor were apartments. So I wanted to do stand-up. My idea was a store where you rent old people for parties. And then they live in the apartments above. It's like a work stay. So I go to hand in my drawings at the end of the semester. My professor goes, "You don't hand them in, you hang them up." Everyone does a project presentation in front of the whole class of visiting architect and the dean. And I was like, that is a curveball. Really? Okay. So the presentation starts, and I went last. So I'm just watching my classmates kill, and I am laughing because nobody knows what I'm about to do. But I do, and things will be different. So they call my name, and I had done 0 public speaking at the time. You know, you're driving, you get pulled over by a cop, you're just nervous, so you just tell them everything you've ever done in your life. That's what I did with this project. At one point I went, here's where we weigh the old people for pricing. They're vegetables. That's how we treat them. That is a direct quote. And then the apartment part was unfinished. Nothing was labeled. At one point, I just said, I think I'll make that area a wrestling ring. Too early to tell right now. So when I got done, everybody is just looking at me, and it kind of hits me in that moment. I'm like, I think I just failed college. That's probably over for me. So then no one says a word. The visiting architect walks up to the drawings. He looks back at me, he looks at the class, and he just goes, Anthony, I just don't think it's a good idea to put the bedroom so close to the wrestling ring. And then he said, because it's gonna bother the old people when they're trying to sleep. And I was like, he's funnier than me. I do not stand a chance out there. You guys were so much fun. Have a good rest of your night. Thank you so much.